What's up, and welcome to the Gift of Gaming podcast, the podcast that you should listen to get all your gaming needs from people who really know nothing or very little about video games. This week on the podcast, we're going to go through a couple of our favorite adaptations from video games turned into TV shows and movies. And today, to help me, your host, Darren Wade, with these particular video game adaptations, I'm joined by none other than Christopher Robins. Chris, tell me, how's life down at the 100 Acre Wood?
Life's good, man. It's just hanging out with my boy Pooh Bear.
Do you get that a lot?
Yeah, absolutely. Not so much anymore, but
as a kid,
obviously. Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of nicknames, but it's fine.
Were they bad? Was that rough for you?
No, not really. It was fun.
I mean, it seems pretty lighthearted. Pooh Bear. I mean, that's probably the worst you could be called, right?
No, it would all depended on my mood. Like if I was ever like grumpy or depressed, somebody would be like, "Oh, cheer up, Eeyore."
Oh yeah, all right, okay.
Really,
or if you're scared, someone goes like, "Oh, it's okay, Piglet, you're gonna be fine."
Yeah, or if I'm like hyper and looking to party, like Tigger's bouncing off the walls now.
Oh, you've got like different personas. I like that.
Yeah.
Like that. And also on this episode, for the first time appearing on the Gift of Gaming podcast, ladies and gentlemen, my good friend Kevin Purcell. Kev, how the hell are you?
All right, man. What's the crack? Thanks for having me. Doing well. How are you keeping?
I'm good. What just so our listeners can get a bit of to know you a little bit, Kev, what have you been playing recently, video game wise?
I usually have a couple of games on the go. At the moment, like my main kind of action adventure game I'm playing is The Last of Us Part 2.
How appropriate given what's coming out next week.
Just a coincidence of it, yeah. No, very excited with that. When it's my first time playing it, and I only got to play the first part and the last, I don't know, 6 months or so.
So you never played Last of Us prior to this, like the last couple of months?
No, I only got my PS5, like, I don't know, about like 7-8 months ago, so I've just been catching up on like a back catalogue of gaming for like about 5 years worth of games I've kind of missed, so I've just been flying through them as best I can.
And your impressions of The Last of Us as a game, the first part at least?
It was excellent, I thought. Like, proper one of those games where I was just like embedded into the story straight away. Like, I was like, get me back on this now. And like, even like sometimes I get annoyed with like overly long cutaway scenes, or I'm like, just get me back into the game. But with The Last of Us, I was always like, oh, like, I need to see more.
Everything seems important. You know what I mean? Like in terms of, or like not even important, just tense. Everything always seems. And did you play like one of the original part ones, or did you play like the PS5 enhanced part one that came out recently?
No, I got the original one just before like the remastered version came out, because I think it's on the the PlayStation Premium thing. It's one of the games you must download.
Yeah.
So it was the original version of it, and then when I saw the remastered version, I was like, I'm so glad I got in there in time, because I think it was like 70 quid or something for the remastered version. I was like, no, thank you.
No, and like it's good, because I think the reason I thought of I think this is your idea, Kevin. I asked all of my mates who'd be interested in coming onto the podcast about what you'd want to do. Your thoughts were like video game adaptations, and the timing is that next week we'll have the first episode of HBO's The Last of Us.
Oh,
next
wow.
week.
I didn't realize it was coming
I think so. So January 15th in the States, so we'll get it here like on the 16th on Monday. But I'm keen. I've watched the trailers. I watched one trailer that was too much. Do you know when you kind of I get into trailers, and then there's that one trailer that tells you too much, that shows you too much. I was like, shit, I didn't need to see those bits or hear that scene or whatever I wanted to kind of experience first time. But I have to say, all in all, it looks pretty good. Did you ever play the Last of Us games, Chris?
Yeah, well, I didn't. I played the first one, and I didn't finish it because, I mean, I think I've told you this story, but I used to work night maintenance at a golf course, watering the greens.
Kev, you'll like this. This is a good one.
And we, like, what the job entailed was me and my buddy would spend 15 minutes of work, like, screwing in these sprinklers. And since it's pretty low pressure, water pressure, if you put them in, like, all of them in, you have to do a rotation. So you screw in, like, I don't know, like 8, and then you wait 45 minutes, and then you go out and rotate them to the next green or whatever. But during that downtime, we're literally doing nothing. We're out in the middle of the forest in Canada, right outside a big white barn. So we set up a projector on the top of my friend's car and played The Last of Us projected on the side of a barn in the middle of the woods at night. It's the most terrifying experience.
Like every tick in the background, I would have just been jumping.
And usually we would split up, and he'd do like the back 9, I'd do the front 9. But I was too scared to go out alone on those nights, so I was just like,
I don't know how you do it, because when I played through The Last of Us the first time, I think it was back in 2017. I was in New Zealand, and I was playing it. It had been out for a little while, but thankfully I had nothing spoiled. It was all fresh and new for me. But there's this scene, and I'm sure anybody like yourself, Kev, has played it. There's this scene where you're kind of underground and you have to turn the power on for a generator. And so it's all dark. It kind of, you got water up to your waist. It's way too quiet, and the game design's very clever in that they've made you pull a couple of generators prior to this point, so they make a lot of noise. And this build-up is like, it's too quiet, and you just know in your head that if I start this generator, it's going to get spooky and scary. And I remember Lauren was sitting there watching it with me, and she said, do you have to pull this generator? I was like, I have to do this. This is what, if I want to continue on the game, I have to do this. She's like, oh God, I can't watch this. And I did it. It freaked the hell out of me. Got out, finished that part, saved the game. It took me 3 months to load that file back up to continue playing The Last of Us. I got so spooked. Like, I was just, but like a class game, and I'm looking forward to the fact that we've got someone like Pedro Pascal taking Joel.
Huge.
I know some people were 50-50 about the casting, but I think he'll be phenomenally good for it.
Yeah.
You're not sure of him as Joel?
I'm not on board for the casting so much, but
we'll see. So like him, visually, like they have such like similar features,
and he does great work. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah. Well, we'll leave it. But I thought I kind of going into this, like, I guess we kind of maybe need to answer the question: are video game adaptations in TV or film any good? Like, is that a thing developers, producers, directors should still be doing? Now, I went and got a list of kind of all these kind of video game films that came out in the past.
I mean, historically, it's been a pretty bad idea.
Oh,
guaranteed
usually
failure,
not great.
But like these days,
Chris, let me read out to you. I took a selection of kind of video game films that I think people will know about, kind of from the last, kind of from the early 90s.
I'm kind of worried that one of my shout-outs might be on this list.
Well, if it is, let's have a talk about it. We can talk about how bad it is. So I got these ratings from Rotten Tomato, and I was kind of looking at series that people would know quite well. The first series, and obviously I think in terms of that they just saturated the market, is the Resident Evil series of films. So let me just go through. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 10 films here, 10 movies, right? And I'll give you the Rotten Tomato rating on each of these, just to show you how Resident Evil not doing so well as an adaptation. Okay,
so the first one was great. It didn't need to go beyond that.
So the first one, Resident Evil, 35% Rotten Tomato, right? Which amazing. By the rest of this is actually a pretty tight score. Yeah. Then we got Resident Evil Apocalypse, 19%.
Brutal.
Resident Evil Extinction, 24%. Now, Degeneration, which is actually like a CGI'd, almost like watching a really long cutscene.
It is awful.
No, you get this 67%.
What?
It is out of the Resident Evil games, or movies, it is the second highest, right?
Oh my god.
Then we've got Afterlife, 21%. Retribution, 28% on Rotten Tomato. Damnation, which is also another CGI one.
Oh, that one.
Damnation, 69%. That one's not
Really?
bad. Yeah.
One of them was.
That's the.
I couldn't even finish it.
I've only ever seen, like, I think the first two Resident Evils, like Evil and Apocalypse, and I've seen Damnation as well. The reason I watched it is I think Leon, or Chris, whoever the main character is voiced by Matthew Mercer, who's a big D&D guy on YouTube that I watched a lot. So I was like, hey,
He voices a lot of video games too.
Absolutely. And I was like, hey, he's voicing the main dude. Maybe I can get behind this. 69%, like by Rotten Tomato standards, pretty good. The Final Chapter, 37%. Resident Evil Vendetta, 43%, and then Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, 30%. So
the whole list is just Resident Evils?
I didn't.
No. That's just. I just thought I'd go through that first so we could just discuss why they need to stay the hell away from making any more Resident Evil movies. I've only seen 3 of those.
Oh man,
and they've all been bad.
Have you seen the Netflix?
The newest one?
Yeah.
Is that's the 8-part series that came out last year, wasn't it?
Recently, yeah. It's the worst. It's worse than all the movies. Well, I mean, there's some.
If you could give it a percentage, Chris, where would you put that?
Oh, I don't know, 2.
Wow.
Shit, it was awful, man. It was so bad. I couldn't get through it. And usually, I like bad. Mm-hmm. This one was just.
But see, there's this level of, I think you get movies that are so bad they kind of almost become cult classics because of that, or watchable. It's like so bad it's good. Resident Evil just never finds a place.
The first one is exactly in that.
So bad it's good.
Yeah,
I think it's like not bad. Like I think it's an okay film.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it's so cringy like some of the like maybe some of the Mortal Kombat ones in the early days. Where
Mortal Kombat was a banger. Hold on, Mortal Kombat was a banger.
Well,
Street Fighter.
Here we go. Here we go. I also got Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter on this list. Chris, when you talk about Mortal Kombat, are you talking about the 1995 Mortal Kombat film?
The original with the Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
tune.
That one did okay. Okay, that one got 45% on Rotten Tomato. So we're getting close up to the 50% sent you.
Going to plummet.
So
Is this Annihilation?
Annihilation is actually
Annihilation was
less
bad.
than 5 or something.
Less than 5 is Kevin's bet. Chris, where do you go with this one?
Another hard 2.
Another hard 2. Well, straight in the middle of the 2 is 4% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah,
it's bad. Thankfully, it's not one that I've seen. I saw the original one from 1995. And like, I guess Mortal Kombat as a video game is not something that I expect a lot from anyway. It's fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
Like it's never going to blow me away. So a movie of the same isn't going to blow me away. But I watched it, I think early on last year. I watched the newest Mortal Kombat film,
amazing.
2021.
Yeah,
it's not bad at all.
Like,
it's not bad at all.
As far as like a video game movie goes.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
It's coherent, which is way more
Yeah.
than could be said for Annihilation.
And like good CGI.
But,
yeah.
You know, they really did well with it. I thought.
I didn't care for the main character being just some random though.
Yeah,
Like, what
that
happened to
was
the Liu
confusing.
Kangs or the Johnny Cages? Like,
Yeah.
there's options there, and then they just threw in. I think his name was Cole.
Yeah.
Maybe to
I
make
was
it a
trying to
bit-
figure out like if he was like a side character and one of the they just keep adding characters.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Mortal Kombat.
I
Was he
Like,
mean,
a
they
new
all
fella?
have kids now too. Like,
is it?
yeah.
Oh yeah. I played like Mortal Kombat 11 and there was like I don't think I recognized more than half of the characters.
Yeah, I played a lot of 10, and I think that's when they introduced like Cassie Cage, which is
Yeah.
Johnny and Sonia's kid.
Yeah, and
she was my
doesn't
main,
Jax
actually.
have a
She
kid
was-
in it as well?
Yeah, Jax had a daughter. It was just whack.
Now, going for kind of speaking on beat 'em ups, and you also mentioned Street Fighter. Are you talking about live action Street Fighter or animated Street Fighter?
Live action Street Fighter. If we're talking about like
Yeah, okay.
bad scores.
So I've got 2 here. I've got the Street Fighter movie from 1994, which Chris, we were just talking about before we came on.
Yeah.
And we said the really saving grace in that film was the guy who played Bison. You know his name.
Raul Julia or Julia. I don't know if
His performance in that film, and like it's
Amazing.
not it's.
But
I'd
he's never underperformed. Like he
No.
always won hard.
And I want to say to people it's worth watching that film for his performance, but I don't even know if that's enough to make that movie.
If you haven't seen it, it's still definitely worth watching just based on how bad it is. Like the All-American Soldier played by Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like,
yeah, and I think that was the thing that was like the All-American, like you expect him to have a big American accent, but he puts on he has a weird, like what would you say his accent is?
it's like Belgium, isn't he?
I think it's something like that. Yeah, it's just all wrong. It's all wrong.
Yeah.
That's
So
one of the ones that falls into the category of those so bad, watch it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's well worth a look.
Yeah. Kevin, just having a look there. I think we're gonna have to ask you just to get a little bit closer to the mic. Just anytime
sorry.
you're, just so we don't lose you. Just because we don't want to lose that beautiful voice. So Street Fighter 1994, 11% Rotten Tomato. So we're still, all these old films.
Did better than Annihilation, eh? Yeah, okay. Yep.
I'll tell you what didn't do better than Annihilation. The Legend of Chun-Li.
Oh,
Street
God.
Fighter Legend of Chun-Li.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that?
No.
Oh my God. I have, sadly, on the recommendation of my brother years ago. I don't know why he'd recommend that to me. Unless he was like, it was, absolutely, I watched that and it is quite possibly. So I think it's been a long time now since I've seen it, but I do remember there's a fight scene between Vega. It's Vega, isn't it?
With the mask and the claws?
Yeah. Him and Chun-Li have this fight scene in it. I think it's kind of, harks back to that very cool fight scene that he has with her in the animated movie as well. And it's, the choreography is just awful. The cuts, the edits, it's all bad. 3%.
Oof.
3% of Rotten Tomato, Street Fighter. So as it stands right now, we're going through some like big, heavy-hitting video game, I suppose, genre, not even genres, just like, Resident Evil, Street Fighter, all bad. Mm-hmm. All bad so far, with the exception of like the Resident Evil, but I wouldn't really call them like brave movies. What we got, like Degeneration and Damnation, which were the CGI, which is just like basically watching a giant cutscene from the game. They're what's scoring high. Everything else here is trash. So I got a couple others here. Doom and Doom Annihilation. How do you guys think? So the Doom is 2005. This is the one with The Rock and Carl Urban, right?
Doom happens to be one of my favorite video game
I'm totally with you. I'm totally with you.
And I recognize that it is not a good movie.
Yeah.
And like as far as the story and the lore goes, it's crazy inaccurate. But there's just something I love about it, and especially in the first person.
That's what I mean.
That's the best
that minute
scene.
or two of that.
It's so good.
So I was looking at some facts about the film today, and apparently it took them 3 months to plan the first person sequence in it, and like 2 or 3 weeks to shoot it because of like, I guess, whatever camera work they needed to make it feel like it was like.
That's what I don't understand. Like we've seen first person in action movies before, but that one just looked different. Somehow it just looked more like a video game.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah, it really felt
know
like it was like
what
the
it
camera was like panning up and down, so it was
Yeah.
going with his like breath or something as well. So
Yeah.
you're really
Which
in it.
is
It was
like as he
so-
steps, which is exactly like
it's so
in-
good.
And it had
was
like,
so
I mean,
real.
it's funny, right? So this got Doom 2005 got 18% on Rotten Tomato.
I
But-
mean, yeah, I believe it.
But the thing about, like, I think the acting and so it's got some bad
Because
script.
The problem is it didn't appeal to any like hardcore movie buffs.
Yeah.
And it didn't appeal to Doom fans because it was so inaccurate
Yeah.
with the story and like the lore. And I mean, Carl Urban, as much as I love him, he's not Doom guy.
No,
In
he's
my
not.
No,
doing
not
that.
at all.
No, not at all.
But yeah, I don't know. Still, I love it. I frequently rewatch it.
Yeah, I watched.
Maybe once a year. Yeah.
I think I did it. Yeah, last year I rewatched that. Just out of curiosity because it had been so long. I think I was a kid, like a teenager, the last time I saw it, and was like, I remember I loved Doom.
Yeah.
And then in that time since, I was like, oh, that movie's slated. I should probably go back and revisit that. And I had a great time watching that film. It's bad, but the cast is great. Like a younger The Rock, before he's an absolute beefcake. Rosamund Pike, who's in it as well.
proper
She's
good.
class in it. Like, I mean, I think of looking through this list of movies that I've taken that have really bad ratings on Rotten Tomato, I think Doom 2005 has probably the best cast in terms of like the most.
Yeah.
I mean, would you say A-list at the time, Carl Urban 2005?
Probably
A-lister?
just slightly before, and the same with The Rock.
Yeah,
But like
before he
on their
became-
way.
But they,
Yeah.
but in fairness, a movie like that for someone of their status at the time could have been career killers. So that must say something about
Yeah.
the movies
still
that
like them.
all three of them are
Yeah.
still out doing things today, like, you know, and good stuff, thankfully. Well, some of it's okay. I don't know about the Rock movies recently, but
Yeah.
okay. So after that, then I kind of got and I never saw it, but the next Doom is Doom Annihilation.
I tried watching it one night. I think it was just too late, and I kind of fell asleep. I've been meaning to go back on and seeing it. I just completely forgot about it because I'd been in a pretty. A couple months ago, I went through a Doom kick where I was just going through like all the old school lore videos and like playing the games. And I bought Doom Eternal and started playing it for the first time. Just
Doom Eternal's meant to be good, like a great release, like a stress release kind of game.
yeah.
But I mean,
it's really good.
From your watching of comparing these couple of guys so far, so we've got Resident Evil, Doom, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. Who would you say has kind of done the best? Resident Evil's got the most to pull from.
I love Doom, but I would say as far as like the actual movie goes, the first Mortal Kombat is, I would say, probably a better movie.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the Mortal Kombat ones have like two very good ones in the original '95, and then
this newest one.
Yeah, like I think they just redid it perfectly. To be honest, like the characters are great. Like so.
They sell them on those. So I was also looking up other ones. We've got the Tomb Raider series. So the first Lara Croft Tomb Raider, 20% Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is a bit sad because as a younger
remember
kid watching
enjoying
that, I enjoyed it
Yeah, I
too.
think 20% is harsh. I think that was pretty good.
I would have given that a bit better. I think Angelina Jolie was an incredible cast for Lara
perfect.
Croft.
Yeah,
I couldn't
100%.
think of anybody else to do it better. I think she did an amazing job as well. And it's kind of a fun movie. The first one is the one with Sean Bean, right? He's the
Is it Sean Bean?
Sean Bean played the villain.
remember.
I could be very wrong here. If I am wrong, email us at
Wasn't it-
the Gift of
I
Gaming
thought it was like
podcast.
Daniel Craig. Or
Daniel
something.
Craig's definitely in it, but was he like?
He might have been in like the second one or something.
Oh, the
Jared
second.
Butler's in it as well, I think.
Oh, so Jared Butler, I think maybe is who I'm thinking of, not Sean Bean in the
maybe.
first one. It turns out you think they're a friend, but they end up being the classic, the twist.
Twist
you know,
through.
that isn't actually very twisty at all. So that one got 20%, and what I couldn't believe was the next Lara Croft Tomb Raider, The Cradle of Life, where she punches a very bad CGI shark.
Yeah.
And it is, if you haven't seen this, just go to that clip on YouTube. Not only does the shark look awful, the punch looks awful, and the shark's reaction to getting punched is comedy gold.
It's so good. You can see it in his face. Like,
Yeah, he's
he
like,
frowns
oh,
on.
you punched me. And it's like, it's not meant to be funny. That's the worst part, like, you know, if they were trying to be funny. So that actually did better than the first Tomb Raider. And for that scene with the shark alone, I think that's an absolute sin that they've managed to rate that higher. And then I was this was the cutoff point. Well, I think I'd probably put this into newer films, but the Tomb Raider from 2018, which I think
the
is probably
reboot.
Yeah,
the reboot.
so good.
Much better.
53% Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
So like
Better.
these reboots here and like kind of like the 20 teens or whatever going into the 2020s seem to be on an upward trajectory. So I've got like kind of the last couple of ones looking back in the past are in the vein of Final Fantasy. CGI Final Fantasy films. This is what I like lapped up as a kid. I have The Spirits Within.
Spirits Within. I almost wanted to put on my list because I think it's an absolute banger, but deep down, I don't think it's an adaptation. I don't think it should have anything to do with Final Fantasy.
It's kind of its own story because there's no Final Fantasy game which I played that I think has any story beats that match up with what goes on in the Spirit Spin. It's a totally different entity by itself. I don't know if that was a cash grab by putting Final Fantasy in front of it.
I feel like it must have been, yeah.
Because, I mean, I thought it... Now, again, this one did... What we got? 44%, which isn't actually... I mean, it's not great, let's be honest. But it's a pass. You know, Irish exam standard, it's a pass.
Would have taken it back in the day for sure, yeah.
So I mean, like, and it's, you know, I says it's the voice acting in it isn't too hammy, considering it's like fully CGI and it's based off kind of like Japanese, you know, JRPGs.
Yeah.
It's always, you always think it's going to be hammy, but the voice acting in that film isn't too bad, and the main kind of, you know, the route the story takes is actually quite tense. That bit where they drop down and like, because it's they can't get touched by the ghosts, isn't it? They lose their soul if the ghosts touch them. Like, it's quite start to finish. It's quite a tense film the whole way through. I like the atmosphere.
It was just an absolute marvel at the time. Like the CGI was, it still holds up. Like,
which is why
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Well, no, it's like that's kind of like a theme that goes through all these Final Fantasy. I've only got 3 of them. One of them was awful, but the theme with all of them is that the CGI, even though they were done in 2005, 2003, whatever it was, they all look great still. Well, great's a strong word, but they don't look terrible. That, like, I mean, you've got movies that were done back in the 2010s, 2012, 2013s, and you go back and watch them now, the CGI can look awful. Yeah. But this movie, which is fully CGI, they're all really, really good. So one that's on my list of, like, and we'll talk about it in depth in a little bit more when we get to it, but one of my absolute favorite adaptations is Final Fantasy 7 Advent Children.
I saw that coming.
Oh, as a kid, I'm going to save it. I'll leave that one until we get on to our favorite adaptations, because that one just, God, it's got such a strong place in my heart, man. I love that film so much. Then the other one that they have is Final Fantasy 15 Kingsglaive, which was a movie that they made. This, to put this in perspective, Final Fantasy 15 was a garbage fire for all of its development. It took, I think, 12 to 15 years to actually finish. The teams changed so many times. The storyline changed so many times. It was just a hot mess. And finally, when they got to grips with it, they said, hey, why don't we make a couple of these bits of media to bring out with it? So they had a 4-part, might have been more, but maybe 4 episodes of like an anime, so you could get to know the characters in it. And then they had this thing called Kingsglaive, which was pretty much the prequel to right before the main game starts. And what I don't like that they do about this is it's pretty integral. Some of what goes on is pretty integral to the actual story. So I'm like, okay, I only watched it because it came with the box that I bought for the game, but it didn't have to. And if you're playing the game and you start off and you've got all this background stuff to what went on and you can't see it, you don't know about it. The game is bad. Don't get me wrong. It's not good. I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just not good.
I love the road trip.
Yeah, but that's all it is. It's just a road trip game, you know? It's a road trip game, but this got 12% on Rotten Tomato. And it is, again, CGI is amazing, but it's got the emotional range of a teaspoon in terms of like what's going on. It's like it has no depth. It's awful. It is awful. Yeah, it's awful. So that's kind of Final Fantasy as well in a nutshell. We'll go into Advent Children because I want to talk about that one. The last one I have, and today I spent so much time looking up old stuff about it, was the Mario Brothers movie from, I think it's 1995 or 93?
Yeah, 93, I think.
Oh, my God, did I have so much fun reading up on all the shit that went down with that film. And I recommend, I haven't watched it in a couple of years. I watched a couple of clips today to remind myself. But I recommend to anybody who hasn't seen the Mario Brothers movie, and especially in anticipation of this new Mario Brothers film coming out in April. So this is, I mean, to see what we've gone from to what we're going to, this is totally worth a watch just for that. But strange casting and the basic premise of
strange casting. I thought the Mario Brothers. I thought that was great casting.
The live action one.
Yeah,
it's so interesting. Some of like Dennis Hopper in it's such a choice.
Yeah, I mean,
he looks like Mario, man.
Like, no, but then Dennis Hopper plays Bowser. That's what I mean. So,
sorry.
And they're just like giving him like
Rob, the guy,
head.
Rob something or other plays. Can't think of his surname. He plays Mario, and he looks like he could be a '90s live action Mario. In fairness, the guy who plays Luigi is
John Luigi.
That's the one.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, I just don't know if I would have cast any of them in any of those spots, especially Dennis as Bowser. Such a weird choice.
Any person as Bowser.
Yes.
Yeah.
As long as it's not a person. But it has so many
dinosaur-looking thing.
So many decisions in that film are just bonkers. So basically, the premise for anybody who hasn't seen the film is they talk about how the meteorite that came and crashed down and destroyed the dinosaurs also opened up a portal to another dimension where reptiles also evolved into humans. So they're half humans, half reptiles. So it's almost as if they're trying to explain Goombas and explain Koopas. And my thing about it is that something you even need? It's like, should that have an explanation?
Yeah.
You know,
we're in already. Like,
yeah,
you don't need, like if you're going to see that, you know why you're seeing it. Like, we're fine.
But as
a good point.
They had so many different directors picked for it, and they had so many script rewrites. Apparently, on the show, the script was being rewritten so often that a lot of the actors actually gave up on learning their lines, and they'd actually just get the sheet of this new rework right before they went to shoot the scene because they were like, this is pointless. They said drinking on set because it was so awful to be there. It was like there was like a guys, one of the electricians that they like kick off a live wire. Like he got stuck to a live wire while trying to fix up the set and got electrocuted to kick him off. He survived. No one died on the set. But I mean, like for I think the man who played Mario, Rob, I'll try and get his surname.
Hoskins, is it?
Something like it. I think it's Rob H anyway. But he actually came out and said that he has no regrets in his acting career, with the strong exception of the Mario Brothers. He said it was his worst decision and worst experience of his life was to be in that film. And just when you like play the Super Mario Brothers games that would have been coming out up to this point, so Super Mario Brothers, or the World 1, Super Mario Bros. 1, 2, 3, those were all we had for Mario at that time. We don't have all the Mario Kart and all the Mario 64. Like none of these existed at the time. And how they conjured up this live action nightmare from Mario, I will never understand. But that alone is worth
Trust the fungus.
Yes.
What the fuck?
So much wrong with that film. I would definitely recommend to watch. That got 29% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Wow, that's
higher than
I expected.
So that's kind of looking at like films gone by. That's kind of looking at like to the early 2000s-ish, right? But then I looked at kind of some more modern gaming adaptations that have come out, and these ones will be a bit fresher in our memory. I think it's worth talking about these ones. But we're kind of looking at like from 2018, 19 onwards.
Into the area where we might even talk about like our favorites.
Only if you want to. If one of these is your favorite, feel free to speak up. So we've kind of already mentioned Mortal Kombat 2021, which got a 54%, which I think is substantially higher than, well, it only beat its original 1995 one by a couple of percentages. But I watched that film when it came out, and I thought, this is actually watchable, a fun ride. I'm not giving it an Oscar for anything, but it's a fun watch. It's a fun ride of a
They
video
threw in
film.
a couple like nice little Easter eggs as well from like the original game. Like there was that, like, it's kind of a hack basically. If you just started doing like a back like leg sweep kick, like just down and kick. If you knocked like your opponent down and you just kept timing it, that as they automatically stood back up, you just hit another down. Yeah. They put that into the movie, and like someone was doing a thing, I think, to like Kano like 3 or 4 times in a row, like, and I was just like, oh, what a callback.
And like to be able, and I think that's what's important about video game adaptations, and I think some of them might go a bit too far, but the fan service. Because the only reason this is a movie is because it was a successful-ish game, I guess, for the most part, and it's got a fan base behind it. So you're kind of, I'm not saying you're doing it for the fans, but putting that in, I think, leads to a good bit of the success on, like, I think a lot of the films here. Like the next thing I'm going to talk about, which now we're kind of starting to go up a little bit in percentage, is Pokemon Detective Pikachu. 2019. I didn't think they would ever nail a live-action Pokemon film. I saw this come out and saw the trailers and screenshots, back, the year or two beforehand. And I was like, no way are they going to be able to pull this off. And I enjoyed, I think, just about every minute of that film.
Very,
really liked it.
I think it is the perfect Pokemon film for like, I kind of like all ages. I mean, there's definite kind of, hammy comedy bits for kids in it. But as me, as like a, whatever I was, 29-year-old watching it when it first came out, I was like, well, this is hella enjoyable from start to finish, and that bit with Mr. Mime. Everything to do with Mr. Mime in that film is so good. Like, the interrogation where he has the motorbike crash. Like, it's all so clever
with the gas.
Yeah. And like blowing out the match and stuff. Like, he is perfect in it. None of you guys had that as your favorite adaptation, no?
It's in there.
It's definitely on. If I would make a list of like top 10s, it might make it. I love that one.
Okay.
I love the Where's Waldo of Pokemon. Just like when they're walking through the city, just trying to like point out and name them all. And
for me, because I'm not into the, like we chatted about this last week, Kristen, like the Pokemon stuff, I'm kind of a OG original 151 Pokemon. After that, I'm not all that savvy.
Yeah.
But there's so much of those in it. there's a lot of the new Pokemon, but like even in that scene where he first comes out to, I can't remember what the name of the city is in it that he goes to, but that little look around the city and you see like, you know, a Machamp as a police officer and Groudon. I loved all that kind of stuff.
I thought the way they did them as well was like that's how I imagined them. I was like, if they ever do a live action movie, like this is what I want them to look like. And I thought they captured like, I'm the same as you. I only really know the original 150, and every one of them I saw, I was just like, oh yes, thank you, you've done it.
Because the CGI is like it's borderline cartoony, but it fits the world. Like it's not too beyond the realms of belief to actually that these creatures would actually exist here. But that one was very, very good. If you had to put a percentage on Detective Pikachu, Rotten Tomato score, what are your bets, Chris? What
76.
do you think? 76. Okay.
I'm gonna say around 63.
68. Again, right bang in the middle of both your guesses, you know. So I personally would have given it more, but I understand that like as a plot it's quite obvious, I guess. There was nothing that surprised me about it. There's nothing amazing about the plot. I think what really got me hooked on it was just the nostalgia that I was watching the live action Pokemon film that had like Ryan Reynolds voicing Pikachu. I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And it's a stroke of genius. It's a stroke of genius. Yeah. And I don't know if it's like a one and done, because I think we'll talk about like things that are coming out in 2023 and beyond, and I think one of them is Detective Pikachu 2. And my hope was that they would build on this world but maybe leave the Detective Pikachu thing behind, because it's like that. There's so much out there for them to touch upon, and Pokemon and storylines and different ones you could have with you, that I was like, oh, I hope it's, I love Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu, but I don't know if it's that, if the success in that was because it was a once off. Like if they try and bring it back, are they gonna, because he at the end of that film I'm not gonna spoil, I won't spoil the film on anybody, just watch Detective Pikachu, you'll know what I mean. After that I have again more recently Sonic the Hedgehog.
Excellent.
Sonic the Hedgehog. I just recently watched the second one actually on the plane. My plane ride to Canada. Didn't enjoy the second one as much, but the first one was unbelievable. And I went in with low expectations.
Yeah, I was the exact same. I was like, especially when the original trailer came out and they didn't do Sonic justice, and I was this is going to be so bad. And
I'd love to understand the background of that, because part of me is like, was that a marketing genius?
I've always thought this. Like I've got like a big tinfoil hat on my head. Like I was like, this has to be in. Like they did this on purpose, just to draw attention.
The original, like the good-looking Sonic asset was always in their back pocket. They were like, let's just throw out this horrible human teeth-looking Sonic,
so bad,
out there into the world of the internet and see what people do. And man, like people got angry.
They were angry.
They were angry. But yes. Amazing film.
Yeah, it was so good. And I thought like Jim Carrey as a Robotnik, I was just like, you've just done something with this, because like your Robotnik, like is he in the game a lot of the time? Just kind of appears at the end. Yeah.
So
he doesn't really have like much about him, and then like Jim Carrey's just a lunatic in the role, so I'm like, I'll just continue to watch this.
And he kind of you know, I always get not disappointed by new Sonic stuff that comes out, but my prime Sonic, the video game adaptation would always be like the 1993 animated TV show that was actually quite dark in that, and I had the coolest intro theme to the thing as well, like Sonic. It was so good. But the whole premise of that is Robotnik is coming into their Emerald Isle or whatever it is and converting plants and things to machines and robots. And Sonic in the early episodes loses his grandfather. His grandfather gets kidnapped or whatever. And later on in the series, Sonic breaks into Robotnik's, you know, factory or whatever else, and finds out that his grandfather's been turned into a robot. Like, you know, but it's so dark. But like as a kid, I watched that, and you know, I was like, even as a kid, I could recognize that. I'm glad this hasn't been packaged as a happily ever after. You know, I'm really feeling stuff as a 6-year-old watching this TV show. You know, I loved it, and I think Robotnik in that was very dark, whereas the Jim Carrey Robotnik, he really created his own Robotnik as this kind of absolute, essentially this madman, like this pure and utter madman. It's kind of like, you know, just mirroring Jim Carrey's probably normal personality, I guess.
Yeah.
Did you ever see the Sonic cartoon that was before that one? The really old one, where it's like he's always eating like chili dogs. It kind of looked like a Roadrunner cartoon.
No, I don't think I've seen it.
Just long desert in the background. That's all it was.
It's like the early days for Roadrunner type.
Blatant ripoff almost. But yeah, it wasn't nearly as good.
I think because Sonic's one of those things I could have put in this massive list of Sonic adaptations. It's like, Pokemon Detective Pikachu was kind of all I wanted to talk about, because I think you could put a whole episode of the podcast into what exists in terms of TV shows and films out there. But I think there's 21 Pokemon films out at the minute. I was like, there's probably no point putting, and like our last episode was all about Pokemon, so like I don't want to give people, get them sick of Pokemon. Yeah. So I'll leave that. But it's the same with Sonic. There's so much Sonic stuff out there. And I think probably the majority of it's bad, but it was so refreshing that these two movies came out and have actually been reasonably good. Like, I love the first one. I still need to watch the second one, and it's funny because I was like geared up to watch it in the cinema, completely missed out on it. But I'm just waiting to actually give it a proper watch now, because I was so keen on it, especially after watching the end credit scene from the first one and seeing what character they introduced now into the second one. I was like, yes, it's a Sonic world, like again, and then a successful live action world that I think I really enjoy. So I think Sonic 3 is
I think
on that list that we'll get into in a little bit. And then the last things I have put on that, because they scored so highly, and we talked about them when we did the Game Awards episode, Arcane and Cyberpunk Edgerunners as adaptations of video games. I mean, that's I know it's not live action, but that's top tier. Like Arcane, and both of them scored 96% on Rotten Tomato as pieces of adaptations, and I can't argue with
96?
96, yeah.
96
for both of them, yeah.
See, the thing, I've actually never seen these, and I remember when I was looking into some of the ones, like to see like what I was doing something in the cinema, I've been like, which are my favorite ones that actually are ranked well. And I was flicking through it and I saw them two, and I was like, how have I not seen these two?
Cyberpunk Edgerunners, I think you need to be really into kind of that futuristic sci-fi kind of world to get into it. I watched it, I enjoyed it, but that kind of the world the cyberpunk world is not something that I'm overly fond of. Arcane, though, give that a watch. For the animation alone, it's one of the most beautifully crafted TV shows ever, and I think it's as a thing, it's just gold. That brings us now, fellas, to the list. I think it's worth comparing these newer scores with the older scores, and I think it's quite clear that thankfully video game adaptations, at least slowly, are getting better. It's not worth saying to people, stop making this shit, it's awful. It's like, okay, no, it's gradually getting better. So we'll go through the list of things that are coming out now this year, next year, and into the future, and it all looks pretty positive. But Chris, I hit you up first. What's been your absolute favorite video game adaptation?
Okay.
TV or film?
Okay, I want to run through a couple honorable mentions real quick. Obviously, we've already touched on Doom, so I don't need to talk about that. Another one of my favorite adaptations is actually not TV or film. It's a book, and it's The Fall of Reach, which is the Halo prequel, and it explains the backstory and how they were chosen and what their training was like, and why only the Spartans can wear the Mjolnir armor. Fantastic book as far as video game books go, because usually they're not great. I'm a big fan of horror when it comes to both games and movies, so I love the Silent Hills.
Nice, yeah.
They, I recognize that they're not the best of movies either, but I still love them regardless. There's another one.
I think just it's worth mentioning, because although the films aren't great, they capture the Silent Hill atmosphere perfectly.
Very good.
Plot-wise, they're a bit weak, but that world that they're in is very Silent Hill.
Yeah, and when the Pyramid Head was like chasing all the people, it was
the casting in that's so good as well, in terms of like looking like the characters of the game.
Yes.
They so rarely get that right, and they really got it right there, I thought.
Yeah. I want to make another quick shout out, because I feel like this guy needs the clout, but it's another Pokemon adaptation, and it's just a YouTuber who animated. It's called Pokemon Red Full Game, and he just animated the full game.
No way.
It's like 3 hours long. It's on YouTube. His name's Pedro. I'm gonna butcher this. Arojo. But yeah, he just animates the full game, but with like some twists here and there. Like it gets a bit dark. Like Lieutenant Surge has like PTSD from the war, fighting with his Raichu.
So we were talking about this last week with Pokemon. That's the kind of stuff I need from the Pokemon world.
You gotta
real
watch this.
Life.
You gotta watch this
stuff in Pokemon.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. And then another one that is kind of like the reverse of what we're talking about, but it is a great movie that got made into a great game, which never happens.
Okay,
that's GoldenEye.
Oh, awesome!
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, I thank you for bringing that up as a piece of video gaming history. Yeah,
yes,
that has to be.
That has to be on an adaptation list. But nothing that we've talked about even compares to the absolute GOAT of adaptations, which is the Castlevania series on Netflix.
The newest one?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Nothing even comes close.
And so would you consider yourself a big Castlevania fan from the video game perspective?
Yep.
And this does it justice?
I mean, yeah, it was an NES game, so like,
how much?
There's some named characters. They have some abilities. There's a bit of backstory. Like, yes, the Belmonts fight Dracula. Alucard is Dracula's son, and then they just had to fill in the blanks.
With what is amazing animation, in fairness to it. Yeah.
So I thought they did a fantastic job of taking something that really only has like a very high level, like abstract story, and making something really interesting out of it. Nice.
Castlevania. That was not what I was expecting, but a good mention because I haven't got it on the list here at all. I completely overlooked it, so good that it's here.
I am curious if Cyberpunk and Arcane have 96. I mean, Castlevania has to be better.
Oof. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I watched the first episode or two of Castlevania, but that world, that realm, the medieval kind of Dracula stuff, it's not my jam, so I couldn't get into it.
Ooh, 94%.
Just but it goes to show you that, like, and this is where I think the argument could be made for a lot of stuff is probably better just animated into a TV series as opposed to live action films. Like, we're looking at this list of all of the best recent video game adaptations have been TV shows that have been animated. And I think it just helps us. I think you're able to create so much more in line with the video games that they're trying to represent than a live action film ever could.
Well, I mean, the video games typically are pretty over the top, and it's just hard to
replicate
do live action of that.
It's the same as, like, you know, like trying to capture a book in a movie. Like you've got usually, like, let's say you could have like 30 hours of gameplay, and next minute it's a 90-minute movie. Like, you're gonna have to cut out so much that you probably like loved, or like, you know, like in certain. Like one of the games, like movies that I was thinking about was like the Assassin's Creed one, and they just went a whole different route to like the original games. Like, I don't even think the main character.
That's with the I forget his name, plays Magneto.
Michael Fassbender. Yeah. Like, it's like not a bad like movie at all, but I always just thought with the quality of the games there, like, for me it's a good one. I loved watching it because like the action sequence,
they're impressive.
They're the same as the game, which I love the fighting style in that game, or in that series of games. But I hope that's like another one that they keep going with. I think they could redo that, or keep going maybe with Fassbender's character and really build on it.
So was that on? Is that's not your all-time favorite adaptation, but it's on your list?
It's on my list as one that I think is worthwhile watching. I think they do a good job of you know, trying to capture the story as best they can, because it's a weird one they're trying to explain. You know, like the concept of Assassin's Creed is crazy. Well, it's also great. So to try and pack that into the movie, I don't think it was ever going to work, but like, imagine that as a limited series, like across 10 episodes. That'd be so good.
I haven't seen the film, but do they do one era of
the
assassin, or do they just kind of jump through a couple of eras?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think Fassbender's just like one character, and I think he's in one set like time.
Because I think that's the only way you could tell it as a film in terms of a film series, because there's too much. There's too much of that to pack into.
Oh, way too much. Yeah.
So if that didn't make your top, like, what's your top pick for video game adaptations?
I think, like, for me, like, Mortal Kombat probably would be my top one, because I just have this like nostalgia factor for the 95 one, and then to see them like do it again for the 2021 one was just brilliant. But there's so many ones that I just remember like seeing just because I love the game so much, and while like they're not always great, they kind of deliver a bit. Like the Prince of Persia, for example, is such
Jake Gyllenhaal.
It's just such a silly movie, and like I'm just like, this is great. Like, you're doing all the silly things I used to be able to do in the game, and like it's fun. And I remember watching it, like, I think it was in my 20s when I watched it. I was just like, shouldn't be probably liking this as much as I do, but I love it.
But I think from my memory of that film as well, Jake Gyllenhaal actually does a pretty reasonable job.
He got big as well.
Yeah. I remember like looking at that film in terms of the costumes and everything like that, and the era. It's all built very well, like production wise and everything like that. I mean, I know it's a bit wacky. I suppose it does deviate a little bit, but no, that's a good shed. Actually, I didn't even think of Prince of Persia. I forgot about that one. Yeah. Very good. I guess to come back to mine, you know, it's funny because we were talking about this. I was talking about this to you, Chris, and I was thinking, what would my favorite be? And you said to me, I'm surprised it's an Advent Children. And I paused for a second. I was like, oh wait, no, it's definitely Advent Children. There's something else. So to put this in perspective, huge hardcore Final Fantasy 7 fan as a kid growing up. I watched I think it was 97, so I was 6 years old, probably a bit too young, but I watched my brothers played through that game in its entirety and cried my eyes out at the scene. I mean, I feel like I should spoil it, but if you haven't played it by now, and this is, 26
I
years
think you're
later.
safe.
Yeah, okay, yeah. When Aerith died, that was, whew. I mean, as a young kid, I was like, they've never done that before. Like, she was on the team. How could they do that? So, I love that game. I love the story.
Before that series has done it before.
Yeah. But Final Fantasy VII was the best way. Come on, and that bit in the video game as well, when she dies and it goes into the boss that you have to fight. Usually in that game, there's real heavy boss, like heavy metal boss music playing, but it keeps her theme playing through that whole thing. And I remember watching my brothers attack Genova with Aerith's theme playing in the background, and I was like, whoa, I don't know what this sadness is, but I'm feeling it, So that hit me really hard. And the first, I love those characters. I thought Cloud was the coolest guy ever growing up. And then the first time I was introduced to a Cloud who had any kind of voice acting was in Kingdom Hearts, the first Kingdom Hearts game, when they had the Final Fantasy characters in it. And I was like, a voice acted Cloud would be amazing. And then, boom, this announcement that Final Fantasy 7 Advent Children, which is the whole cast post Final Fantasy 7, and they're going to do a full CGI. And I was like, whoa, this is going to be good. And I'll never forget that me and Luke and our friend Kev, not Kev on the show, a different Kev, we were, it's terrible to say, but this is going back to 2005, so I think we'll be forgiven. We got a pirated version of that before it was actually released. And we were meeting up in Kevin's house that Friday night, and we were because we're all quite young, so staying over in Kev's place. And poor old Luke he just didn't do some homework that he was meant to do, and he wasn't allowed to go, so it was just me and Kev, and we're like, I can't believe he's missing out on this. But we watched it on a small TV in what wasn't the best quality pirated copy, but it was still there, and listening to Cloud and Sephiroth and all the characters voice acted, and for the most part voice acted well, just hit me so hard. And that movie, it's like what I was talking about with the other Final Fantasies. Watching it now, and I watched it recently, I think a couple of months ago, CGI-wise, it's absolutely fine. And I know it's a bad film. Plot-wise, I know it's all a bit janky.
When Cloud's jumping up the Bahamut and
they're all lifting them up.
They're up there already
Yeah,
somehow.
yeah.
I'm like, why didn't you guys just take care of this?
I would, I would. But no, Cloud's the only guy who can do it. But there's so many scenes, and one of my favorite things about that game is that it brought me right into the world of AMVs. We'd go into the YouTube after that movie came out and listen to or watch people do the fight scenes, the System of a Down music and everything, and I was like, this is the most badass movie that's ever existed ever. As a grown up now, I'm like, there's lots wrong with this film, but as a kid then I was sold. Hook, line and sinker, I watched the absolute shit out of that film. And a couple of years later they brought out the complete edition, which had a couple extra minutes of fight scenes and blood, and I was like, whoa, this is amazing.
Yeah, I remember watching, because my buddy got his first Bluetooth player, and we were thinking about the first movie we should watch. We decided on ordering Advent Children. So when it finally got delivered, we watched it, and seeing the actual when Sephiroth starts
stabbing
cutting
him
him 1,000 times, and you actually see the blood splatter. We're like, whoa!
Yeah.
I didn't think they were allowed to do
because
that.
I didn't know about the complete edition until I rewatched it in someone's house, and I was like, I don't remember these scenes. There's just a couple of minutes here and there, and a couple of character conversations that I had no memory of, and I was like, oh, this is actually brand new. So that was quite interesting. And what I loved about it now, watching it now, we've got the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is a very impressive game, but has kind of opened up a whole wormhole of bonkers Tetsuya Nomura. I don't know where the story is going. But what's interesting is having watched Advent Children now, and after playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, it looks to me like the remake is trying to just take everything that they ever made Final Fantasy VII wise and try and put it into this story that's somewhat coherent. Is the only way I can. So the game as it's or this movie, Advent Children, as time has gone on, I think for me as a massive Final Fantasy VII fan, has only gotten better to watch. After watching it, finishing Final Fantasy VII Remake, the game, I'm like, wow, this has opened a whole new world for me of possibilities of where the story could be going or what they're trying to do in the remake. So that has to be, without a shadow of a doubt, the greatest video game adaptation movie that I know it's bad. I know it's not a great film, but my God, does the child in me is like, oh, I watch that every week if I could. Love that film.
Yeah, it's good, but it's no Doom.
No, it's not. Doom 2005 Doom is probably a better film, better cast. But it's just got such a strong.
I can't even argue with you. Advent Children is a banger, and if I made an actual listed top 10, it would probably
it'd make the list.
Number 2.
Yeah, number 2.
No, I would.
Oh, it would be on the list.
Be on it as well. It could be 2. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
definitely not 1 because that's Castlevania.
That's Castlevania, yeah.
I need to rewatch it. I haven't seen it in years.
Advent Children.
Yeah,
It's
long time.
The sad thing about the film is that, and this is what I mean about fan service possibly going too far. I don't think Advent Children is a movie you can watch without having played and like really played Final Fantasy VII, the original game, 1997. It's not like you know, watching Arcane, which is the League of Legends series. I can watch that, and I've never played a League of Legends really in my life, but that story is for everybody. Whereas this story is so set on taking you from the point the game ends to continue on, and there's very little exposition of all these things that are happening. So I think if you're not a fan, it's a hard watch.
Even as a continuation of the video game story, it still didn't really like make a lot of sense. A lot of it didn't fit in.
A lot of Final Fantasy doesn't. To anything that Tetsuya Nomura is behind, Chris, forget about it.
Yeah,
like, you know,
true.
Just bank on some action scenes.
And hope for the best. Like. So I want to go quickly through. Kev, you hit me up with this link. It's an IGN. And they're kind of talking about what to expect in 2023 and beyond. So I'm going to go through like a couple of ones that like of this that sound great to me. We all know the Super Mario Brothers movie is coming out in April. That looks good.
It does look good. Like the casting is super weird, but like they've obviously pumped a ton of money into it.
One problem with casting.
Chris Pratt.
It just doesn't work for me, but everything else does. Like
Jack Black is better.
Jack Black is
perfect.
Going to carry that movie,
regardless it's gonna
of
be
how
amazing.
bad it is.
And it's even from the trailers, it's very clear that Jack Black is doing Bowser, whereas Chris Pratt seems to be doing Chris Pratt, which is the problem, I think. And like I says, maybe as you go through the movie, because I think the most recent trailer that they brought out, I think it has a few more bites of him speaking, and I think he's tried to put on a bit of the Brooklyn plumber accent on, and I'm like, maybe that'll sell me, but I haven't heard enough yet. But I'm nervous about him.
I'm dying to hear my favorite Nintendo character, Donkey Kong, with the Seth Rogen.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be perfect.
It's gonna fit so well.
And again, like I would say when I originally saw it, I was like, that's a mad choice, but I think that's
a good
shout. Bad choice too until I kind of watched some Seth Rogen clips, and they always go back to the laugh, and I was like, that works. That
as
works.
A Donkey Kong thing, yeah. So we've got I'll go through just like this loads here, but a couple that like pick up that look good. Death Stranding looks like it might be made into a film. So prepare for Walking Simulator the movie. It's going to be great. Metal Gear Solid to be announced, which is
terrifying.
Terrifying in that
if they keep it to like the first Metal Gear, just the spy movie.
Shadow Moses, yeah.
Absolutely.
Are
they going to go movie with that one?
That's a movie,
okay.
Which I think is probably I think Metal Gear Solid would, as an adaptation, would lend itself to a movie as opposed to a TV show. I would prefer a Metal Gear Solid film over a TV show.
I can't wait till they introduce a character named Deep Throat to the mainstream. That's going to be a fucking
That's absolutely going to be censored. He will not be called that. There's no way. What else have we got in this one? Interesting. Half-Life. Beside this
no fucking way.
But it has status unknown beside this, so I reckon this is probably like it's probably not signed off yet at all. Maybe like looking at some of these. And some of them are weird. Like I've got a Pac-Man movie, which I worry like that. I don't know if you guys saw. I think it's like the Emoji movie or something.
No.
There's one called Pixels, where there's a big
Pixels is one thing.
Peter Dinklage.
Yeah.
And I think like that's not a great film. And I have a funny feeling that a Pac-Man movie, I think people would look at that and say, "Oh, Pixels, like that's where we need. That's the kind of vibe we need for Pac-Man." And I'm like, I don't
just don't see it.
I don't see it.
This is a bit off topic, but as far as adaptations go, does Ready Player One count?
That's I was thinking that for like Free Guy as well.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I have no problem talking about them, but from a adaptation perspective, Ready Player One was a book, not a video game. Although there's huge amounts of video game references in it, it's not based off a video game. Same with Free Guy, isn't that what
is it Free Guy? Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah,
with Ryan Reynolds
one.
Yeah. And I think that one again that's a movie with lots of nods to video game stuff. So I don't think they'd be considered adaptations. TV shows, we've got The Last of Us. We kind of already discussed that. I am pumped for that. I think that's going to be great. I think it's going to be kind of like, I think it's got the potential to be the zombie apocalypse movie to beat them all. Like, I mean, I love that world that they've created. I love the fact that this is like this fungal disease and everything. I think it's very...
They're looking like they're going very true to the like source with like the tickers and stuff. Because like I thought they might move away from that to keep it more like traditional zombie or whatever.
But I think like they'd be fools to do it because it looks so good as it really is. Do you know what I mean? And they're quite original ideas as well, which I think the whole genre of like kind of zombie apocalypse stuff needs a bit of refreshment in terms of different look. There's a Castlevania spin-off series, Chris, on its way potentially.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mass Effect
nice.
TV. They're into TV shows now.
Wow.
Mass Effect TV show can it be like a Star Trek, a Stargate scenario for Mass Effect? I'd be into that. Like you know, could be quite good. The world building, the lore that's in Mass Effect is huge. That could be
massive.
That could be great. There's a Final Fantasy 14 TV show. Don't really think that's needed. And then the interesting ones, Horizon and God of War, based off their recent successes as exclusive IPs for PlayStation. Do I think
these are actually happening? I don't think those are going to happen. There's been
a lot of talk there. So they're not in a status unknown. They're to be announced in terms of their release dates and progress and stuff like that. So I'm fairly confident they will be made.
I think that's a bad idea. I think they should keep the story within the game series.
Yeah.
I don't think they should.
And I think, you know, it's one of those things whereby I would have said that about The Last of Us a long time ago. I was like, no, don't make this into a film. But seeing the trailer, I'm like, oh, I'm into this.
They could do it.
And I wonder if it's a God of War. See, the problem with God of War and Horizon is they're very obviously Last of Us is a fictitious world as well, but it's a fictitious world based in some kind of recent reality, whereas these ones are like God of War and Horizon could be very hard to pull off. Yeah,
and I think by making a spin-off series, it's just going to dilute the creative material for the games.
Yeah,
I think it's a bad idea.
So we'll see. That'll be to be confirmed.
In fairness, though, I've never played any of them, so maybe this is a way I can enjoy it. Yeah, maybe this is a way I can enjoy it too.
So before we finish up, I thought a fun question to ask you guys would be: we've kind of talked a lot about adaptations out there. I think the general consensus is they're getting better, which is good, and I would like to see more of them, providing they're done well. Like there's a lot on that list that we just read out there that I'm like, ooh, like Death Stranding, that could be bad. Metal Gear Solid, that could be really bad. And I'm worried that we're kind of hitting this point on the graph where I'm like, we've created really, really good stuff. Let's maybe count our blessings and you really think about this before we go further. But I think there could be so much stuff that it could saturate, and maybe we could go back to our Resident Evil Annihilation on 4% Rotten Tomato level. Hopefully I'm wrong, but we'll see with The Last of Us. I think if the standard can be kept at that kind of level, we could be in for like a fun 2 years of just nothing but video game adaptations. But if you guys could have any video game that you love adapted into a movie or TV show, what would it be? Kev, I'm going to hit you first.
Yeah, I was thinking about a couple like that. I know they'd make good, but they'd have to be done right, like The Last of Us style that you were just saying there. Like Red Dead Redemption.
That's on my list.
It would have to be good.
A Western, like a Western TV show.
Like we know, like that idea is like tried and tested, and then like you've got this like affiliation to all these characters that you love, and like they could, like, it doesn't matter which one they do, 1 or 2. If they want to start with John Marston or Arthur Morgan, I don't care. Like, but it's just going to be, that would be epic. But again, like how many episodes? Like how long was it to play Red Dead Redemption?
I think,
2? Like,
but
it was like 40 hours.
There's huge amount when you take the normal narrative from the Red Dead games. There's a huge amount of filler, like side quests and whatever else. I think the main storyline, like especially in Red Dead Redemption, it's sort of like Red Dead Redemption 2, the second one, that's as a narrative piece, it's one of my favorite games narratively ever of all time. That storyline, being that character Arthur Morgan, who's probably one of my favorite video game characters of all time ever as well, because there's so much depth to him. I think they'd be perfect, and I'd almost love for the original voice actors to play their characters, because the voice acting in that game was so good.
And it's so distinct as well. You know, you'd really just associate it with them. Like, you know who's talking straight away if they're off camera. I just love it.
Westerns, like, you know, Westworld was hugely successful, although it was a bit of a weird spin on Westerns. But man, like, I'm big into Westerns, Western films. I'd love this really long Red Dead Redemption
I think it would work perfectly.
TV show. And
I think there's another like quick one, which I think is like, it would just be another perfect recipe for TV show. Do you remember The Getaway?
Yes.
Can you imagine that as a show, like East, like, or like Inner London gangster show? Yeah, it'd be great.
And it could very well be, like, you look at a lot of shows that are out today, that wouldn't be like, that's not off the realms of possibility at all. It's very in line with what's going on regularly on TV.
It'd be super popular. And like, that's just one of those games I just wanted to see more of. I've been like, I always Google like, is there a third one coming anytime soon? It's just, I need to see more from The Getaway.
Yeah. That'd be good. I like that one. Chris, what about you? Any particular game you'd love to see as a TV show or a film?
Well, I'm a huge fan of the cyberpunk genre, and I'm not talking about just the video game itself, but like the whole fantasy that William Gibson built with Neuromancer. So I'd like to see that explored a lot more in even just miniseries like Edge Runners. And then there's another one I would love to see. Probably just a miniseries, comedy style, kind of like a Squid Game version of Portal. Where
Nice.
you just
Nice.
have a bunch of test
Nice.
subjects on each episode trying to get through the portal.
Yeah.
And just
That
like
would
having
be
GLaDOS just
And if-
amazing.
with that style of humor, that could be like, as you said, like that could be a
Absolutely,
comedy show.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Some guy freaking out like, "Where's the fucking K?"
Yeah.
You get like
Just
Stephen
losing his
Merchant
mind.
back to
Yeah.
narrate. That's him in the original, or in Portal 2, isn't it?
Stephen Merchant.
Yeah, I think he's the
so.
voice.
I'll double check that one. If we're wrong, email us at thegiftofgamingpodcast@gmail.com. That's all we have. That's all we have. I don't have any other social media still. I'm working on that. I'm sorry. So that would be your thing, like a portal type. Anything
Yeah,
else?
I would love to. It would be fun. It would
Portal
just
would be
be.
good.
It would just like cake. Just a single serving. Just a little sweetness
just
here.
that.
Yeah.
So on my list of ones I'd like to see, Red Dead Redemption was my top. This other one is kind of more of a, I think it'd be bad if it was done, but I'd still love to see it because I love the series so much. I would love a CGI full film of Kingdom Hearts doing the Keyblade Wars, so like the pre-stuff to the first Kingdom Hearts game, because there are so many games, like mobile phone games on the DS, like everything to do with that lore, which is vitally important for the series as a whole, is so spread out on so many different devices that it's impossible to kind of collate everything and say this is a legitimate. So I'd love a movie that's like, this is what happened and this is why this exists and this is why Sora gets the Keyblade 20 years later. I love that so much.
I think that's actually more possible now than ever when it comes to like streaming service exclusives.
Yeah.
I think that's right up Disney Plus's alley. I mean,
Could you like, and think of it, like, I mean, this wouldn't be a Donald and Goofy sort. I'd prefer the pre stuff, but that's only because I love the idea of the Keyblade
yeah,
Wars.
the only way it would get greenlit is if Disney was like, it's on our platform.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, imagine like you could have because in the old stuff in the Keyblade Wars, Mickey Mouse plays a fairly heavy, and I'd love that. Like, I'll save the Keyblade. I'd love that shit. That'd be so amazing. Like, give me that. So that'd be my absolute dream thing. A CGI full film of the Keyblade Wars. And for our listeners, if you can think of anything else that would be better adapted to TV or films, be sure to email us at thegiftofgamingpodcast@gmail.com. Chris, Kev, guys, it's been great. Thanks a million for that. What would be the next movie you're going to watch after listening to that? Is there anything that you're going to go home and say, hey, I have to watch that? Because I'm just going to go home and watch Advent Children. That's all I'm going to do.
Nothing tonight. I would have to listen to the episode back and just
See what tickles your fancy. Yeah. All right.
I think I need to start picking up Castlevania.
Yeah,
I think this is going to have to jump to the top of my list.
You can watch that for the first time.
Guys, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. To our listeners, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one. Keep gaming. Peace out.
See yous.
Bye.